welcome, viewing several once again to another episode. I think this is episode 56 or 57 of my little series I like to call Hands Up, Who Loves a String Set? Me. So, here we are once again. Now, it's Monday night because I didn't get round to doing this yesterday in the end because I went to visit the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway with a friend of mine, and we had to go on the Wagon and Maschinenbaum rail bus that they were running there. That belongs to the Earl's Colne Railway Museum, and it's been there all this month. And they also had a vintage bus gathering there as well yesterday, so that was interesting. And I think some of those buses are quite old, although there was one the same as the one I'd been used to go to school on, and similar with my friend who's a bit older than me, and he said he went to school on one very similar to one of the other ones, so interesting. But here we are today. We're going to look at this. So this is one of these Triang Railways Remembered sets. I nearly bought one of these about a year ago, and in the end I thought, well, I don't really need another Ginty set with a first radius. I didn't buy it, and then I saw this one. It was at good price, and then the seller sent me an offer at even lower price, and I left it for a day or two because I thought, well, I'll give someone else a chance to buy it, but if it's still for sale, you know, the day after, the following day rather, I would maybe buy it. So in the end I did. So these are quite nice. They're in a nice heavy cardboard box. They reproduce the look and feel of the old sets. So the R2X, there probably was an R2X. It's like a passenger set, and this one's got a Ginty in, but it's obviously one of the modern ones. It's obviously the modern track. The original one of these would probably have had the Series 3 track, or possibly even the older track with the grey plastic roadbed, which I haven't got any of that type of track actually. But so you get the picture. You got the two boys there. I don't know if they're brothers or they're just mates, but obviously this guy's got his short sleeves, so he's the older boy, I think. And then I think that's his little brother. But yeah, so they're playing with this. You can see on the picture here, this is an early picture from an early set, because it's got the track I was talking about. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just called System Track or something like that. And there's two versions of it. The earlier one is quite difficult to use, and I think it's kind of the way it clips together. There's something funny about it. It only clip one way, or there's something funny about it. And then the second version was probably like this one. And then they got the one with the Series 3, which doesn't have the grey plastic roadbed. So anyway, it's all very nice. I think this is fairly new, so we'll just have a look inside. Right, so you can see it's got the styling of the old yellow in cardboard inserts that you would get in the older sets. It doesn't have those kind of card trays that you can pull out, but it's pretty good. I've talked about this before, this kind of anomaly here where it lists it as first radius, and in the catalogue it says first radius, and here it shows you a picture and tells you you need 1210 by 1040 millimeters, which is third radius. But it is first radius. If you actually look at the track, it's R605, so it is first radius. Let's just see if I can show that. I can't see the camera because I've got it high up, so I can get all this in shot. So yeah, I don't think this has been used more than once, so yeah, it's quite nice. So we've seen all these before. I reviewed the crash crane set. I think maybe this loco is slightly different in that it's very plain. It's got the lion riding the wheel British Rail logo. It's obviously you know, a modern Ginty. They run a lot better than the old Triang tooling. And we've reviewed quite a few of them over the series, including the Triang ones, that have the smoke machine in them, that generate the steam generator, smoke generator. And we've got some carriages here. Now this one, I don't know, I was going to say it looks like the glass is so clean it looked like it was missing, but it does appear to be in there. So they're very basic. I can't see, they do appear to be corridor coaches, but they seem to be quite low detail. But you know, I've actually got quite a lot of these type of things already. So you get, these are LMS ones, so they're in the purple livery, and you get the other one, which is, that must be the brake, third class brake, and then you've got this one, which is first class. So you know, quite basic models, but quite nice looking. It is a train set after all, which is what we like. And in the accessories here, looks like you get a decoupler. I'm not quite sure what the point of that is. Power clip, and oh, you get your driver there, and possibly, I can't see the fireman, just the driver and fireman, and you've got your vacuum hoses you can fit as well. Standard things. So you can see it's still got all this plastic. Now normally I would just chuck all that out, but I don't know if I'm keeping this set or not yet, so we'll see. So originally I bought it thinking I might, it's my friend's birthday this week, so I thought it might make a nice gift for him. It'll be compatible with the stuff he's already got, but I don't know, he might not want more stuff at the moment, so if he doesn't want it, that's fine. I'm quite happy to keep it, but I think he might like it, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, let's there's not much more to say about it, so we'll set it up and give it a run and have a little beer. Just an extra bit, do you know what this reminds me of? Getting this out of here. Do you remember Operation? It's like that, isn't it? Except there's no buzzer, but yeah, it's got that feel to it with this thing round it. So you'll notice this box, the old boxes we covered, underneath what we've got the our famous pulp tray, which we try and say like Rowan Atkinson, but we can't because we can't do it. But yeah, so you've got your pulp tray, and then you've got this track, which is, I think probably what you would do is to make life easier, you would just lift that out and do that. So yeah, I'm not going to set up that. I think we'll just set up the track and run the train. Let's go. Right, here we are, we're on the track. Here's the best bit, isn't it? Running it, having a little drink, a cold beer. So we've got Tisky tonight, a couple of them, and then probably, as it's a school night, we'll go on to the Heineken 0.0 or maybe the Guinness 0.0. So what I've done is I've set it up. I'm using my Gauge Master. I'm using the track that came in the box, except I've just used this modern Hornby power connector. It's just easier to connect these two reliably. I could have used the other straight and the power clip that came in it, but for today, because this is essentially a modern set, I thought, well, I'll just, you know, I'll use that. So I haven't checked the track properly for that I've done all the joins properly. I can see them with my glasses on close up, not as well farther away. So we'll just run it, and if there's anything dodgy, we'll fix it then. So we'll bring this little loco round. Now I've done nothing to this loco because it's so new this, Now, in a previous episode, I reviewed another set like this, and it was the Crash set. Same sort of setup. I'll just move, yeah, so that should couple there. There's not much straight for it, but it should be okay. And we'll just set off slowly. Yeah, so the other one I had, I don't think it had ever been used. But this set came out, this is quite a new set, it's not been out very long. A couple of years, maybe 2-3 years. The other set, the Crash set, came out a year or two earlier, and it was almost like the grease, the factory applied grease had dried up on the other one, and I had to do quite a bit of mucking about with it just to get it to move. But there's no such thing here. So these Jinties are pretty nice, I think. They're not the highest detail models, but you know, they're pretty good. I've got quite a lot of the older tooling from the 50s that they made up until the 70s. And I've said before, these 060 Jinties, the older ones, the Triang ones, I did a comparison of them. You know, what the older ones are slightly shorter, and then the made in Margate ones differ from these more modern Chinese made ones. Again, they changed the chassis and the motor and the position of the drive gear, and they are better for it, I think. This is a much smoother loco than so the retooling was in the 1978, so throughout the 80s you had a newer version that was better than the 50s one. It didn't have the XO4 motor visible in the cab for a start, and it was the correct length. But some of them weren't that great runners, and I've got a few that have a few problems. But these ones are pretty good, and I've got haven't reviewed it yet actually, but I've got a digital set where you get DCC fitted one, and it's pretty much the same as this, same livery, and it runs pretty good. It'll crawl pretty well on DCC, so yeah, they're quite nice. But as I said, my first train set was the Rail Freight set. It was the one from 1974 where you've got the terrible battery controller, you've got the old Triang tool Jinty as your loco, and you've got a Kellogg's wagon, you've got an Esso, I think it was, silver Esso tanker, you've got the girder wagon with 3 boxes on it, and you've got a set of points and a decoupler, and one of them tunnels where you cut the lid of the box, and you get the 2 tunnel ends are made of plastic. But it wasn't a bad set, except for the fact that the Hornby track at the time had very small fish plates, as I've said, and it was really tricky to get it to stay together as a kid. And the battery controller, I think I only ever had batteries for it once, and once they run out, I don't think I ever was able to use it again. And I used to take the loco round to my friend's layout and run it on that instead, because I never got it running really. Those doorbell batteries were quite expensive, and they didn't last very long. You remember the old Ever-Ready batteries in the 1970s? You got your red ones, and then you got your blue ones. I can't remember which ones were which now. One of them was slightly better than the other, and whichever was the worst one, that's probably the blue one, might have been the red one. They just lasted about 5 minutes. I mean, they were just rubbish. And this was like, Duracell came out a bit later on, alkaline batteries, and they were much better. But a lot of the toys I had as a kid were battery powered, and the electronics and the motors consumed a lot of current, and the battery technology was like really poor. So the ratio of current consumption to battery capacity was really bad. Maybe it was the other way round, you know what I mean. And in modern toys, that's improved quite a lot. So, you know, you've got modern LiPo batteries that you have in remote control stuff. An incredible amount of power and longevity, and obviously the electronics consumes a lot less power as well. The motors are more efficient. But yeah, this is retro styled. It's still quite old fashioned. So although they've made improvements and changes to this, it's essentially the tooling from 1978, and I think the coaches probably go back a bit older than that. So we'll just give it a bit more juice. I don't want to run it too fast because it's... That's a bit we will do. I don't think it's going to come off, but I'll just put my hands here to stop it going off the desk. Actually, that's alright. Let me slow back down again. That's nice and smooth. And that's nice. We probably could do moving this way a bit because I think it's gonna knock the corner off Gary's nan's house if I'm not careful, so I'll just move it this way a bit. So, I mean, this is the first time I've run this, so it's warming up. I don't know if it's ever been run in, but my suspicion is that it was bought, used once, and then that's it. A lot of these sets are, and that's why I keep my eye out, and you can pick them up quite cheap. I think some of them, like this, come up often, more often than some of the others. So I'm hoping that the modern version of the Triang Hornby, what is it, the Intercity one, and I did the episode of the original 1966 version, which I've got, and there is a reproduction of that. So I'm going to keep my eye out for one of those second hand. But some of these sets are bought and kept because people collect them, people like me maybe, and but some of them, like these smaller sets, they are bought as a first train set, and people play with them and they go, well, I don't know, not really very interesting. So yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I'm an old geezer now, and for me, I love all this. This is brilliant fun for me. But and I do like a video game, but I'm not. I've been playing video games since like the early '80s, and they've improved them a lot. But there's nothing new in video games, and I don't play them anymore because I'm kind of bored with them. I've probably played every version of FIFA from like '96 right through to 2006, and then I just stopped. And I tried one recently, and from a couple of years ago, and it's really good, but it's like the same game I've played a billion times. So, but look at that, that's very nice, isn't it? There's something nice about a tangible physical thing moving. And having said that, I will say that when I run my N-gauge stuff, it's fantastic. I really love it. The Japanese stuff, it's so smooth, but it doesn't have, it's so small, it's almost like watching it on a screen. And it goes round and you think, okay, which is why I like the older Triang stuff and the old Hornby 003 rail, because it weighs a ton, and when it's going around the track you can feel how heavy and noisy, hear how noisy it is, feel how heavy it is, and it's a lot of fun. But this is nice, this is really smooth, and we're down to 30 on the Gauge Master. That's about as low as it will go. Round this radius and pulling that, and we'll just do a bit more speed, but that is lovely and smooth, as you can see. I think this is the perfect loop size for this kind of train set, because when you get the third radius, it's just too big. I mean, I've got loads of third radius sets, and if I want to play with them, I just set them up on the first radius. But you know, if that's all you've got, and you've got to find somewhere huge, and people's houses aren't as big as they used to be anymore. So, but even when I was a kid, and we had a 50s bungalow, I don't know what it was, and there were some big floor spaces, but even then you've still got, it's still always a struggle to find somewhere that's big enough to set up your Subutio or your train set. And I remember we had like a snooker table my mum got once, because she wanted to get this snooker table, and it fit in the room, but you know, there was, however you did it, there was always one part of the table where you had to queue up at that angle, you know, or at least two places. And yeah, I think it was 6x3, so there would have been room. I mean, there's plenty of room in there to run something like this. But talking with Subutio, I collect that as well. I've got quite a lot of it, and the problem is you need a big table. You need to play it on a tabletop, and it was always, when we were kids, we had the good pitch, the Astro pitch, but we put the table out with the flap, but it was like an oval, so it was perfect for the train set. But the Subutio pitch used to hang off the corners, so if you had a corner, you had to kind of slide it and get that corner on the pitch so you could take the corner, and if it went out the other side, you slide it back slightly. It was only just like the edges, but you know, that sort of thing was completely normal, and we didn't detract from the fun. But yes, I rather like this, so what I'll do is I'll just run it backwards. I don't know how well it will run the other way, because going backwards with these coaches, not a great idea, but as long as I don't go too fast, we're fine. So there we have it. So I'm going to take some running shots, bring her into shot there, and we'll just finish off with some running shots. So it's a shorter episode today. I haven't had a chance to do. I've got quite a backlog to do, if you've seen my last bit that I did. So yeah, so it's a great set, this. As I say, I kind of bought it as a sort of, it could be a birthday present for my friend if he wants it. Like I said, he might say, oh, I don't know if I want any more stuff right now, but if he does want it, it's his, and I think he'll like it. It's kind of it's a brilliant set.